Inequalities with absolute values and square roots. So looking at more inequalities here, first we're going to look at ones with absolute values. So let's jump straight into an example. The absolute value of x minus 1 is less than 4. Now just by definition of an absolute value, everything inside the absolute value can either be positive or negative. So we're going to automatically get two cases. One where everything's positive and one where everything is negative inside the absolute value. So the one where everything's positive is just x minus 1 positive is less than 4. One with everything negative would be x minus 1 all outside of the minus is less than 4. So this is just x minus 1 is less than 4. So we add 1 to both sides, so x is less than 5. This one we can expand the minus to get minus x plus 1 is less than 4. So we get minus 1 on both sides, so we get minus x is less than 3, and divide both sides by negative 1, which means we have to flip the inequality, and we get x is greater than minus 3. So what that means is we can write our final inequality as x is greater than minus 3 and x is less than 5. We can write it in between like that. Let's have a look at another example. The absolute value of 5x plus 3 is greater than or equal to 8. Again, we get two cases, one where everything's positive in the absolute value and one where everything's negative. So we get 5x plus 3 all being positive, which means we can just write it like that, or everything being negative. So we can minus 3 from both sides, so 5x is greater than or equal to 5, dividing both sides by 5, so x is greater than or equal to 1. Expand this minus out, minus 5x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 8. Add 3 to both sides. It's going to give us minus 5x is greater than or equal to 11. Dividing both sides by negative 5 means we're going to flip the inequality. So we get x is less than minus 11 over 5. And because these values are separated, not showing in between, we need to write them as two separate inequalities. So we can say that x is less than or equal to minus 11 over 5, and x is greater than or equal to 1. So let's have a look at an inequality with a square root. So let's look at the square root of x minus 5 is less than or equal to 4. So we can go ahead and square both sides. So doing that, the square and the square root cancel out, and we're left with x minus 5 is less than or equal to 16. And we can just add 5 to both sides and get x is less than or equal to 21. But we need to be really careful because we know that inside a square root has to be greater than or equal to 0. So we're going to write that down as well. So we're going to take everything inside the square root, which is x minus 5, and make it greater than or equal to 0, and solve this. So we just add 5 to both sides. So we know x has to be greater than or equal to 5, and also x is less than or equal to 21. So we can say our final answer is that x has to be greater than or equal to 5, but less than or equal to 21.